I'm also muted. Sorry, I was muting the music. I feel a little silly doing this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So I guess we can start with the Storm Prediction Center here. Oh, okay, great. Okay, here we go. Oh, um, okay, so today we have dual area for severe thunderstorms that might end up doing a live stream for later today. Internet is very, very slow for some reason. Okay, let me turn that off. We got big old slight risk for a lot of the eastern seaboard down to the Dixie states and Tennessee Valley, even all the way into the Mississippi Valley there for Arkansas, and then also the high plains from Montana down to Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, parts of South Dakota, Kansas, and eastern Colorado. Oh, okay. So last night we were looking at this. This didn't have a 5% tornado risk for this region. It was just three different 2% tornado risks. 2% tornado risk of marginal, or an isolated risk for a tornado um, of intensity level 0, I guess. But marginal risk for an isolated tornado threat across the eastern seaboard, New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Maryland, West Virginia, Virginia, Tennessee, um, Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi there, and also the High Plains again. But we have a 5% tornado risk for a little small area of the Nebraska Panhandle and northeastern Colorado. That will be interesting. Um, so our wind. Oh, okay. Here's what our wind risk looks like. Damaging wind risk 15%, extending across a lot of the eastern seaboard down to the Dixie states as well for a great portion of that slight risk to the east. It does look like that is probably going to be the, yeah, no, that's going to be the primary risk behind the slight risk across the eastern seaboard. Just some scattered damaging wind gusts, and stuff, and then an isolated risk for some damaging wind gusts, back towards the other slight risk, across Texas and Oklahoma as well. And then um, the driving threat behind the slight risk to the west is a 15% risk for large hail, intensity level 1. So the possibility of some intensity level 1. I'm still not used to this intensity outlook here. I don't even know what intensity level 1 hail means. Guess we'll figure it out. This is very slow. Okay, here we are. 15% tested. Okay, well, this doesn't help me. This helped me though. This does help me. Sig 1. Okay. Um I see what it's telling us here. It's telling us that intensity level or sig 1 means mostly a threat for large hail between 1 to 2 inches, but most likely around what appears to be between 1 and 1.5 inches in diameter for hail. So that's what that means. The 15% risk, so scattered large hail, and the possibility of that large hail being anywhere from 1 to 1.5 inches, maybe even approaching 2 inches in some areas, perhaps. Then also a 5% risk for some large hail across the eastern seaboard. So possibly some isolated large hail further east as well. Tomorrow though, to what tomorrow has in store for us. I know it's another slight risk. I just don't remember where. Ooh, across Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Colorado. Looks like that risk is shifting south. 2% tornado risk. Possibility of some isolated tornadoes. Across eastern Colorado. Ooh. So 15% risk for damaging wind gusts. Sig 1. What does Sig 1 say for damaging winds? I wish it had it in miles per hour because I don't think anyone uses knots. Let's see. Let's give it the good old look. Um. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay, hold on. Hail. That was that's less than Sig 1. So Sig 1. Okay, yeah, never mind. It has a lot of the same thing. Just a higher possibility of hail. That yeah. So yeah. Okay, a lot of the same thing. Mostly the risk of hail. Scattered large hail, possibly between 1 to 2 inches. But probably mostly around 1.5 inches in some storms. But winds Sig 1 um appears to be mostly the threat for 50 to 55 knots to 64 knots, whatever 64 knots means. 64 knots, 2 miles per hour. 73 miles per hour. Okay, so could see damaging wind gusts probably anywhere between 60 to 70 miles per hour, maybe even approaching the low 80 mile per hour winds. We'll look at the models for that here soon. We're kind of just going based off of the outlooks right now at the very least. Then hail 50%, 50% Sig 1. So possibility of some scattered large hail there. Um, Day 3, let's see. Okay, we have a probabilistic slight we have a slight risk for the high plains again. Um Probabilistic 15% Sig 1 with Sig 1 mean for day 3. Does it tell us? It might not tell us. Sorry. Whew. Still very early in the morning for me. Sorry, I'm stretching. Okay. What's this? Oh, okay. Whenever the Storm Prediction Center was making this, it really appears that they were mostly focusing on their tornado risks. It doesn't it because this whole like Sig 1, Sig 2, Sig 3 stuff, this is still relatively new. Only came out this year. And in the process of making it, it really doesn't seem like they focused too hard on anything but tornado. But I mean, does its job, but they need to make it a little bit more apparent what Sig 1, Sig 2, and Sig 3 is actually supposed to mean. I mean, it's very obvious what it's supposed to mean for tornadoes. But wind and hail becomes very confusing very quickly. Even for me, it's making it hard. We'll just look at the outlook. Actually, we won't look at the outlook. We'll just forecast it ourselves. Um, what about the Weather Prediction Center? See what the flash flooding outlook is like. Okay, let me open this up. I need caffeine. You guys are like watching me or listening to me about to fall asleep right now. Hold on, I wonder. I'll look at this later. Actually, no, I'll look at it now. Hmm. I'm trying out something new. This looks interesting. I don't know why the WPC isn't. There we go. Okay. So we have a moderate risk for flash flooding for northern Arkansas, parts of western Tennessee, around the Memphis area, uh, and then broad slight risk that extends across the eastern seaboard down to the Mississippi Valley, Central Plains, Oklahoma, and Texas, and Dixie states. For tomorrow, slight risk across the Central Plains, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and then a marginal risk for Virginia and um, North Carolina. So scattered flash flooding tomorrow for Central Plains. Um, Semi widespread, scattered widespread flooding for Arkansas and Memphis region. For day 3, slight risk across the Central Plains down to Arkansas and Mississippi Valley. So scattered flash flooding again, and then slight risk again for day 4 across the Central Plains, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. And day 5, marginal risk. So isolated flash flooding for Ohio Valley, then into Mississippi Valley towards Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas again. So this play or Arkansas is kind of just gonna be bombarded by a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of flash flooding. So this area of the United States, Central Plains, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas really need to be watched for flash flooding today, or not today, over the week. Well, yes, today, but also over the week, because man, this could really pack a punch with so much rainfall over such a long extended period of time, multiple days of flash flooding. And obviously it's June, so we're not gonna have any. Oh, well, I spoke too soon, but nothing of crazy importance. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm trying to look into vmix here. Interesting. Makes it damn expensive. At least I'm assuming it is. Ah, it's a subscription. Oh no, it's a subscription license, but man, the lifetime license is for the pros, $1,200. It's crazy. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, let's go to, what is this? Is this the National Hurricane Center? No, it's not the National Hurricane Center. I'm gonna look at the National Hurricane Center. Let me pull it up real fast. NHC. Nope, not National Healthcare. Okay, here we are. Someone mentioned this earlier to me earlier last night, to mentioned two tropical disturbances in the Pacific, and these are the ones that he's talking about. Less than 40% chance of actually developing into a cyclone, and they don't pose really any threat to the United States in any capacity. I mean, it probably wouldn't even pose much of a threat to Hawaii either, but I mean, we can keep an eye on it. I just doubt it's gonna do anything. Let's go to currently live weather. Switch us over to oh my God. Wait, there we go. To radar scope. Let me switch the thing. Boom. Oh, okay, well it's already switched. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, no, okay, it already had radars. Okay, that's weird. Oh man, it does not like me. Wait, doesn't appear that there's anything going on in, yeah, no, there's really not a lot going on in the slight risk area. There is some morning convection, it appears, to the north of that risk area. Um, though, if I do recall, it's not in the 5% tornado risk. Let me see if I can pull the, yeah, no. It doesn't look like it'll pinch too much on the 5% risk area. Yeah, no, and it hasn't been doing so for a while. Um, there is stuff ongoing down here. It's mostly just, yeah, mostly just some gusty storms, mostly outflow dominant, some light rain showers, maybe heavy in some areas, but just some morning showers that are mostly outflow dominant, maybe given some gusty winds. Let's see what these are warned for. 40 miles per hour winds. And can I not grab the special weather statement? I had it there for a moment. 30-mile-per-hour winds. So yeah, just some gusty storms here. Some morning rain across northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, eastern Texas. Sorry, hold on. Let me let my dog in real fast. Okay. Do have a severe thunderstorm watch currently ongoing for this region, but I doubt it's really gonna last a whole lot longer. These storms look like they don't really meet the criteria anymore. Yeah, no, they don't. Not anymore, at least. Um, there is a severe thunderstorm warning for Memphis here. Yeah, quite a lot of heavy rainfall across Memphis currently. Let me turn off these tracks because they're getting in my way. Not really warning for hail, obviously, but it's mostly just some gusty wind, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Um, yeah, nothing too crazy. There are quite a few morning showers across a lot of this region. Um, and we do have a special weather statement for the north here as well. 50-mile-per-hour winds and maybe some very small hail. And some flooding as well. It does look like a lot of these places are probably going to be experiencing some flooding, especially around the Memphis area, or right around where that moderate risk for flash flooding is today. You see there's a lot of rain showers already ongoing, a lot of heavy rain. Doesn't look like it's going to be letting up anytime soon either. And then some morning rain further up north. Ooh, for a very broad area across the New England region. Ton of rain. And looks to be mostly clear across the Ohio Valley. Maybe some isolated rain showers in some regions, but nothing too concerning. And across the rest of the marginal risk region, across the Central Plains, it's mostly clear. Maybe some rain showers towards the Red River, just the north and northeast of Dallas. What are the current observed soundings for this region? If we even have like an area that we can check. We might not be able to. It's not letting me. Okay, I have to turn off the station plots. It's a lot of instability. It's quite a lot of instability. Nice deep, really nice deep moist layer there, and stout cap. Yeah, quite obviously substantial enough for a risk for severe thunderstorms later. Once that caps break, definitely going to see some decently explosive storms. Definitely a risk for hail as well. You can kind of see and extremely elongated photographs here. Photographs look kind of dumb, but does have some curvature in the low levels. I don't know why it's so zoomed out like that, but nice long tail and a fat Cape profile, just blocked by a very stout cap. Then yeah, a lot of the same up north here, except the cap looks to be a little bit weaker. Still nice long elongated photographs. At least right now. I'll check back later, but certainly looks pretty decent. What are some of the soundings for this region? Oh. Okay, what about down here? Ooh, nice cape profile. Nice moist layer. I don't know why my photographs look like that. They look weird. Yeah, so definitely need to watch this area. Definitely got quite a lot of instability. But we did have some severe thunderstorms across that area yesterday, so we're gonna have to see how those might affect it. And then we also do have some, again, ongoing morning convection, some light isolated morning convection off to the north of the 5% tornado risk. So it shouldn't really impinge too much, but I'm mostly concerned about how moisture return is going to play out later. Let me switch back to this. I don't know why it's so zoomed in. Okay. Um. Oh. Got to look at everything past day 3. Okay. It does look like we only have a 15% for the high plains, the northern high plains across Wyoming, Nebraska, South Dakota, and northern Colorado there. Uh, day 3 risk, or slight risk at 15% for some scattered severe thunderstorms, possibly. We'll watch that as it progresses. Um, let's look at some of these other warnings that we have going on here. Severe thunderstorm warning for Memphis, flash flood. Yeah, a lot of flash flood, flood watch for that area, and then as well as up there as well for Kentucky, West Virginia, parts of Ohio and Virginia. Extreme heat warning, heat advisory for Texas. Couple of red flags for Colorado and Idaho and fire. I don't know if those are. I can't really tell if those are special weather statements or fire weather watches. Do we seriously have a red flag in? There's no way we have a red flag. We do. We have a red flag up in Alaska right now. Risk wind advisory. Sorry, I'm gonna put on this and then also where is it? There. We have a severe thunderstorm watch. Um look at models now. I've kind of been stalling a little bit because I don't really want to look at them. We'll look at pivotal weather. Oh. I didn't realize you could do continental. Ooh, this is actually pretty cool. I didn't realize you could do this on pivotal weather. This might be new. It's interesting to see how The Sahara Desert is, it looks like it's almost permanently a low pressure system because of how hot it is there. Look at those lapse rates. God damn. Only reason there's not a lot of instability because there's no fucking moisture. It's the Sahara Desert. Oh man, I actually haven't seen this and I haven't played around with this really ever actually. I didn't realize I could do this. It's very stuffy out here. A lot of places. Oh wow. Would you look at how much instability there is in the wherever that place is? I'm not sure where this is. It's I can't. Ooh man, I cannot remember what that place is called. The Northern Hemisphere. Oh, look, now you can kind of, you can see the jet stream. Look at that. Ain't that cool? You can kind of see from here, um, that across the, oh my God, I cannot speak. Across the slight risk region for the high plains, it's not really supposed to be a whole lot of strong upper level winds. So it's going to be limiting that risk for hail a little more than anticipated. That is cool. I wonder what the low level jet looks like from this perspective. Interesting. Ooh, strong low level jet across a lot of the central plains. Um, I wonder what that is. Some sort of tropical system right there. Okay, can we look at the southern hemisphere? I don't think so. Oh, damn, it gets quite hot across the Amazon rainforest. You would think that you'd have like a ton of instability there, given how hot and how much moisture there is. Surprisingly, there's not. Oh, okay, well, you got some decent instability. I think it is winter across this region, southern hemisphere. So, yeah, has some nice moisture, but it's a little colder than anticipated. Also, lapse rates suck. Lapse rates suck. They really suck there for some reason. Oh, it's because of all the trees. Duh. That's why they suck. Because of all the trees that are there. I don't know why I said for some reason. It's obviously of all the trees causing the lapse rates to be not great. Um, Europe. Look at Europe. Oh, UK's got Cape values upwards of like 3,000. No, surface based. Or well, they will. in like 2 days, or perhaps tomorrow. I mean, trying to find, where did it go? Precipitation. Surprisingly not absurdly rainy. A lot of rain firing off the Alps there near Switzerland, moving east across a lot of the Balkans. Interesting. Oh man, it's a mess over here. Oh, that's what that tropical system was. A little tropical storm. It's very rainy over here. A ton of rain. Look at that. Just so much rain across a lot of southern China, India, and a lot of these countries down here. Oh man. Looks like this area in particular gets rained on non-stop. Australia. Interesting. I wonder what the temperatures look like. Oh, okay. It's pretty chilly because it is winter in the southern hemisphere. The North Pacific. No, I'm not wanting these. I'm trying to find. Okay, there we go. Okay, I see those two disturbances. It could definitely develop into something, but it really doesn't look like it's going to pose any threat to the United States in any capacity. Okay, well, we'll come back over here. All right, HRRR. Um, it's the most recent. Yeah, okay. So rather weak jet stream here. Very rather weak mid-level flow, but we do have some mid-level flow across a lot of the eastern seaboard, southern United States, Dixie States, Ohio River Valley, a little trough, um, dipping down into Arkansas. We're gonna see a lot of that rain. It does look like we have an embedded shortwave that is gonna be firing off those storms that we were seeing earlier across Arkansas, northern Louisiana, Mississippi, and then also continue eastward to fire off some scattered to marginal severe thunderstorms across Tennessee, the Dixie States, and lower Tennessee Valley, and then also that possibility for a 2% tornado risk, some isolated tornadoes. Um, that short wave there. Um, mm, then I'm not seeing a short wave for the eastern seaboard here, but there is definitely sufficient mid-level flow for it to, or for sufficient synoptic lift to support some severe thunderstorms across the eastern seaboard there. And then Central Plains, obviously, what we need to focus on most. Um, got some decent mid-level flow moving over to those Rockies there. Do have some defluence aloft. That is gonna assist with that synoptic lift and kickstarting those storms. 200 millibars, kind of saw that earlier. Um, but we really don't have a whole lot of strong upper level flow overlapping with the mid level flow across eastern United States. So probably not going to see too much of a hail risk. Maybe an overlapping hail risk with some shear where some of that strong upper level flow does overlap with mid level flow towards the eastern seaboard there around Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Kind of envision what the photograph's going to look like as well as the mid-level flow is um, coming out of the southwest with upper level flow coming directly out of the west. So definitely going to be some elongation and possibly even some curvature in those low levels of the photograph. Obviously we need to look at our low level jet for that though. So don't take my word for that. Um, Not a whole lot of strong upper level flow further south though. So that hail risk is mostly going to be limited to the eastern seaboard. But then we do have some overall weak but marginally strong upper level flow across the high plains. Going to be elongating some of those photographs and leading to that hail risk there. Um, yeah, decently elongated photographs. Little to no low level shear or low level jet or directional shear. Doesn't, yeah, you can kind of tell it doesn't really look like there's a whole lot of strong low level winds. Maybe not a strong low level jet. 700 millibars. Yeah, decently strong low level jet. Gonna advect across Tennessee Valley, lower Tennessee Valley, and Dixie states there. 700 millibar flow, 50 knots. Some, yeah, low curvature in the low levels of those photographs. Sufficient instability for marginal tornado risk. And across the eastern seaboard, it doesn't really look like there's gonna be too strong of a low level jet to really. Yeah, I'm really not seeing too much of a tornado risk for the eastern seaboard there. Curious as to why the Storm Prediction Center put a 2% there. It's also not going to be a very strong low level jet across the high plains. At least not where you would want it to be for a 5% tornado risk. Oh man, okay, what? Hold on, let's drop down to 850 millibars. Oh yeah, that's where it's coming from. Yeah, I know, I spoke way too soon. We do have a decently strong 850 millibar low level jet. Definitely going to be blowing up a lot of those photographs. So definitely sufficient shear for that 5% tornado risk. But depending on coverage of storms, might not see too many rotating storms, or maybe too many storms in general. It all depends. We'll have to look at positive reflectivity. A lot of the same. Yeah, I'm not noticing too much of a low level jet across the eastern seaboard, but here and here do need to be watched for tornado risk. Let's look at these. a little bit of a dry line here. Some decent moisture at the very least. It's kind of very mid moisture, I will say. But it's definitely sufficient for severe thunderstorms in the way that we are looking at some very hot temperatures later this afternoon, though. Um, Wonder what they're firing off of because I can't really tell with the mountains. What does the Storm Prediction Center say? Yeah, I see what it's talking about. Low level upslope flow regime, moderate instability. Okay. What? Yeah, it does look like there's a bit of a differential heating boundary there. A bit of a stationary front. That storms are most likely, that's probably what storms are most likely going to fire off of. The high plains, that stationary front. Um, don't really worry about cloud cover a whole too lot. Um, see the coverage of these storms. Okay, not bad. Couple of scattered, isolated supercells, some large hail. They're very discreet though. Yeah, I know. Look at that photograph and this cape profile. Not a whole lot of there is some convective inhibition, so it might infringe on some of these storms here. But if they can get going, they can get going. They'll definitely have the chance to produce a tornado or two. Let me look back over here. It doesn't look like a lot of these storms across the southern Tennessee Valley and Dixie states are probably going to be mostly outflow dominant. Maybe even bring along a risk for hail. Um, but very marginal tornado risk atop a more likely threat for damaging wind gusts and possibly even a hail for those southern Tennessee Valley, Dixie, northern Alabama, northern Georgia. A lot of rain going on. A lot of heavy rain going to continue across the northern Arkansas region, so definitely need to watch for flooding there. Let's look at lapse rates. We're gonna look at mid-level and low level. Got some decent lapse rates. Top a lot of the region. Quite nice lapse rates. What about low level lapse rates? Ooh, yeah, some nice low level lapse rates too. Really nice low level lapse rates. Though it does look like our moisture is gonna be eating away at our risk. It's not the greatest because of our moisture. Um, Decent instability though, definitely sufficient for a tornado risk like this. I would love to chase this. I'm just way too far from it. It's not like I'd be able to get over there today, especially with all the busyness I have. Yeah, storms will be surface-based based on the sufficient surface-based cape, most stable cape, mostly translating down to surface as well. Do have quite a lot of convective inhibition across this region. We have a very stout, very strong cap earlier, across the top of this region. Saw that earlier as well. Those observed soundings that we were looking at on radar scope earlier. Very stout cap. That does look like it's gonna break and probably lead to some rather explosive storms. I'd be very curious to see what they look like later today. Bulk shear. We'll look at risk for hail. Yeah. Uh, Risk for hail looks like it's gonna be pushed further north, but rather elongated photographs. Definitely gonna see that risk for large hail, possibly even upwards of 2 inches in diameter. But the risk for hail is mostly limited by storm coverage because we are only gonna see like isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms. Gonna be mostly discrete, spread apart. It is limiting that hail risk a little bit. But if we did have more convection, more storms, then we could see a higher hail risk, given the kinematic profile and thermodynamic profile. Um, Storm relative velocity. It's quite nice. It is quite nice. Very sufficient storm relative velocity, directional shear for tornado risk. Does look like we are going to see that tornado risk as they were forecasting, predicting mostly across this region, the best chance for a tornado. Though timing of our storms and our best kinematic or best thermodynamic profile appear to be a little mismatched though. By the time um by the time our environment really ramps up and we see those higher energy helicity index values, uh, better overlap of strong instability and strong directional shear does look like those storms would have mostly left the region by now. But you can definitely see where we're going to see some overlap between some pretty decent cape profile and some pretty decent directional shear as well. Definitely gonna see possibility for a tornado right up in there. Gonna look quite nice. What about over here? Yeah, quite a lot of directional shear and some decent instability overlap as well. Let's see. Just a cold front chugging along behind those storms. So yeah, I don't even know if there is a cold front behind those storms. There is an obvious wind shift, but it does warm up rather quickly behind this supposed wind shift. Does look like a cold front though. Actually, it probably is. Just less of a temperature gradient further west. Quite nice thermodynamic profile ahead of these storms around the Tennessee Valley. Quite warm. Gonna be quite moist as well. Yeah, a lot of moisture here. Ton of moisture, very saturated atmosphere. Probably not going to see crazy lapse rates though, because this is the Dixie area. Yeah, as I thought, not really the best lapse rates. What about surface-based lapse rates? Ooh, some decent surface-based lapse rates. Quite a lot of instability. Some fairly juicy instability, actually. And that mostly translates down to the surface-based profile as well. Convective inhibition. Not a whole lot of capping, so not really a whole lot to impinge on these storms, but also not really a lot to make them more explosive either. So, but that's okay. It's not going to affect it too much. Those look quite nice. Definitely sufficient shear for a tornado risk on top of some sufficient instability. So you already looked at the low level jet there. Yeah, you can see it's, it's a bit more on the weaker side, especially towards the surface, but definitely sufficient. Certainly sufficient for marginal tornado risk. Though shear is probably going to be limiting our storms in this region a bit more. What is it? Yeah, bulk shear I wanted to look at. Yeah, not really going to see much of a hail risk at all in this regard for the Tennessee Valley and northern Dixie states. Finally, we can look at these over here. Quite warm across the eastern seaboard here. Very strong surface-based lapse rates. And don't really know how I feel about this. Looks like we might have slightly insufficient. Oh, never mind. Spoke too soon. Definitely have sufficient moisture. A bit more on the weaker side, but it's definitely sufficient. It's there. Still very curious why they are flagging this for a 2% tornado risk. I'm really not seeing it. Some of these cells do look quite robust. And there is the overlap between strong upper level flow, low level and mid level flow as well. So definitely going to see a marginal hail risk across the eastern seaboard here, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, perhaps northern Virginia as well, maybe even parts of West Virginia Panhandle. Could see a marginal hail risk materialize as a result. What about mid-level lapse rates? They're kind of icky. Actually, they're quite icky. You do have some very, very strong surface level lapse rates, though. So mid-level is really where it counts most. Yeah, it looks like as a result, we aren't going to be seeing a whole lot of instability. It's unfortunate. I'm just not seeing what the Storm Prediction Center is saying for 2% tornado risk. At least sufficient bulk shear, 0 to 6 kilometer bulk shear for marginal hail risk. Okay, well, perhaps I can see what they're going for here. Just not a whole lot of. I mean, there is some low level curvature there. This doesn't really look a whole really crazy. It's also very weak. Very weak. Low level jet. It's like barely even there. Not gonna lie. I mean, it's there, but it's very weak. I mean, maybe an isolated tornado risk might materialize, but I honestly feel like the threat might be below 2%. If anything, the tornado risk is mostly limited to this area in particular. We can check. We can compare with other models though. Let's see. Yeah, perhaps there could be an isolated tornado risk that might materialize across the eastern seaboard there, but it's all right. Okay, check back in over here. Mm. I need a weather-wise pulled up. That's what I use to know what type of alerts are active. Mostly just flash flood right now. Flash flood, flood watch. Right now it's mostly hydrological. What other stuff do we got going on? There's a rip current advisory, rip current statement, sorry. Hydrologic. Tropical disturbances. Okay. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. At least not like we had last night. Um, just realized I already have a weather-wise tab open. Just close it. Ugh. Okay. Tomorrow. What's tomorrow saying? Oh, there's a slight risk for the Central Plains. 2% tornado risk. Sig one wind, sig one hail, both 15%. We can look at those. That's something we can look at. So we have a lot of southerly flow out of the north across the Central Plains for tomorrow. Some decent mid-level flow. Quite 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 what am I trying to say? Sufficient synoptic lift. This mid-level jet streak. What's upper level saying? Very weak upper levels. We do have some upper level flow here. Just doesn't really overlap a whole lot with the risk area. There are some explosive storms though that you can see they're going off on the models. Also see where the low level jet is mostly limited to. Tomorrow it's mostly just gonna be limited to eastern Colorado. Very very crazy looking low level jet there. Perhaps might be for today though, actually. Tomorrow, low level jet still mostly limited to eastern Colorado. Yeah, mostly limited to eastern Colorado. Um, and mostly limited towards the 850 millibar area 2. Not a whole lot of 700 millibar flow. Kind of zoom in here again. Curious what all of this is here. This is outside the risk area. Is our day 3? No, it's not even our day 3. It's weird. Very warm though. See, uh, surface low here. Surface low that develops. And what does it drape? See what looks like, what might be a boundary here. Can't really tell actually. Possibly boundary here. It's really hard to tell. Got some lead troughing going on. And that surface low is going to move east for going somewhere. Cannot find it anymore. Very warm though, very warm. Let's see here. Interesting. Yeah, I need to at least see what this looks like. Yeah, okay. If you look at that, it's quite interesting. Possibly some scattered, isolated, more discrete storms tomorrow back towards Colorado, but then you have this thing right here. Very fast moving line of very large hail and then damaging straight line winds, possibly in some embedded tornadoes. But this is not even in the risk area. Now I'm curious, is this just an outlier? This is odd. Might be an outlier. And that's very funny. Okay, let's look at our RRFSA. I know ARRR is a weird outlier. I don't. I need to. Dude, that's interesting. That's so weird. Unfortunately, ARRR isn't gonna go that far out. So I guess we're just gonna use some other model, I guess. We'll use NAM 3 kilometer, I guess. This is looking like a lot of the same thing though. Actually, no, that's today. Whoopsie. Hold on. Interesting. I'm curious for what the next outlook's gonna look like. Some obviously some uncertainty going on. And actually, I have a very good tool for this when it comes to uncertainty called href. Let's pull out href. Just realize you can't really see it too well, I think. No, you can see it perfectly fine. I don't know why it looks like that on YouTube. Bit odd. Okay, we'll look at href. Actually, I'm not even sure if href goes far enough out. Ooh. Well, this is funny though. No, href doesn't even go far enough out. Can't really do much with it. Okay, we'll use this. We'll use RRFSA. Not a whole lot of strong 200 millibar flow, really at all, overlapping across this region. I'm quite surprised that there's actually a big of a hail risk as there is for tomorrow. I mean, certainly some elongated photographs, but I don't know if it's Sig 1 type of elongated photographs. Might be though. Remember, at the start of this live stream, I had no idea what Sig 1 hail risk meant. Um, Wait, why do I still have severe thunderstorm warning? There is no severe thunderstorm warning. Oh, never mind. There is a severe thunderstorm warning. Take it back. I just forgot to take off the severe thunderstorm warning overlay when there was no severe thunderstorm warning earlier. Now there is. So, oh yeah, that makes sense. Damaging winds most likely. Yeah. Um. So it doesn't appear that the HRRR is probably as much as an outlier as what it seems like it was earlier. But it definitely does look like there could be some sort of damaging wind threat and some sort of MCS that might develop. Might develop. What am I trying to say? Some sort of MCS, straight line wind damaging threat, damaging wind damage. Oh my god, damaging wind risk. That's what I'm trying to say. For tomorrow, with a line, an MCS of severe thunderstorms and strong damaging winds that we could see develop and move south across Kansas, Oklahoma, and into the Texas Panhandle, across eastern Colorado as well. That's what. Oh, my mouse stopped working for some reason, but it's back. Yeah, pretty decent moisture too. Definitely gonna see MCS type of material tomorrow. Maybe even some embedded tornadoes as well. Nice Cape profile and a little bit of curvature in the low levels of the hodograph. Definitely not gonna be too strong. We're gonna see very limited directional shear. If anything, probably not too much of a tornado risk even after it develops, because the straight line damage, the damaging wind risk, straight line damaging winds is probably just going to be too strong for it to really develop inflow, especially given the lack of shear. So I really don't think there's going to be too much of a tornado risk tomorrow. Maybe for an hour or two when the storms initially develop. Actually, I can't remember if I looked at the low level jet or not. Yeah, definitely a sufficient low level jet for a very brief risk for an isolated tornado or two, for like an hour or so, hour or 2 hours when the storms initially uh, begin across eastern Colorado, and then it's quickly gonna phase out and likely not return. It's gonna become almost entirely a straight line damaging wind risk. Um, because it's going to be next to near impossible for those for any sort of like inflow channel to really develop. Sure, there might be some curvature in the low levels of the hodograph, but again, just not strong enough. Though the potential does still stand. Mostly going to be a hail and damaging wind gust threat. Um, Wind. I can look at 10-meter wind. I can't see wind gusts though. Which I think college should do page as wind gust models. Or wind gust product, I mean. Give this to me. I want to go here. Wind gust. That's 14Z. I want 12Z. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. That's just triple R. Yeah, it's strong damaging wind gust there. Even 80 knots. What is that? 80 knots. Or sorry, not 60 knots. 80 knots to mile per hour. It's 92. 92 miles per hour. So, ooh, oh man. You can see like very large hail threat there as well. Very robust storms, but our FSA tends to always just have absurdly robust storms regardless. Surface space Cape, yeah, strong instability, a ton of instability there. Not gonna be fighting for instability at all. Um, Lapse rates are also really good lapse rates. Oh, shear. Okay, there is some bulk shear here. It doesn't look like the best risk for hail is probably going to be more so limited back towards Colorado, Kansas, and the Oklahoma Panhandle, likely weaken to more of an isolated large hail threat, or at least some smaller hail sizes as it moves into Oklahoma. But yeah, does appear like there will be a tornado threat within the first 1 or 2 hours of storm initiation tomorrow. I have to go here soon though, so let me check. Never mind, I don't need to go. At least not yet. I can continue to forecast to my heart's content. Um, sorry, hold on. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. All right, what about day 3? Let's see what day 3. Day 3's thrown at us. A lot of the same thing. Sig 1 storm, Sig 1 50% for the high plains again. Though I don't know if models really go that far, so we might have to gulp use name 3 kilometer. I really don't want to though. Okay, yeah, no, we will use name 3 kilometer. A lot of the same thing as expected. Discrete, semi-discrete, or not semi-discrete, discrete isolated supercells across the high plains. Kind of weaker mid-level flow compared to today and tomorrow. With a lot of that mid-level flow being more or less limited to further north, but definitely gonna at least provide enough synoptic lift to get storms going. Weak low-level jet. I'm actually really not seeing anything as far as the low-level jet. Yeah, we might not even have really any tornado risk. We do have some very, very marginal curvature in the low levels of the hodographs. Some very weak 850 millibar flow. Though it does appear like what we're looking at is too early to really tell, where the low level jet might kick up later. We just can't really see it yet. Really, really fat Cape profile though. So very sufficient instability, sufficient moisture as well. Good level lapse rates. Yes, crazy lapse rates. Really good thermodynamic profile so far. Ton of instability too. Just a ton of instability. Rivers Basin. Yeah, we do have a little bit of a capping inversion. We'll probably see on our day 3 on the 25th. Sorry, not 25th. The wait, 24th, where it will probably infringe on those infringe on those storms a little bit. Maybe carve out some nice structure. Make it maybe make it a little bit more difficult for tornadic threat, especially given the very weak low level jet, very weak shear. But it will also certainly keep storms isolated. And a lot of the instability does translate down to the surface. Also going to make the storms more explosive too, the convective inhibition. I also am not seeing a whole lot of shear either. 0-1. Probably very marginal to little to no tornado risk on the 25th or 24th, sorry. Mostly can be a damaging wind gust threat and a large hail threat. Let me look at some of those photographs for that hail threat though. Gee, wait, where's bulk shear? Do we not have bulk shear? We don't have bulk shear. Oh, never mind, we do. Oh yeah, sufficient bulk shear, 0 to 6 for large hail. So mostly gonna be a large hail, large hail, damaging wind gusts risk on the 24th across the high plains. Mostly limited Colorado, Oklahoma, or sorry, Nebraska Panhandle, maybe parts of northern Wyoming and the Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle. New Mexico as well. Sorry. I'm still tired. What I'm also interested in seeing though is oh, wait, do I already okay, let's go to college and new page. Because we do have that day 4 50% for the Wyoming, Nebraska, northern Colorado region that we do need to check out. But also, actually, hold on, let me just go to yeah. But also, yesterday apparently the Storm Prediction Center was calling for some sort of sorry, one of my friends sent me something absolutely diabolical. Okay, well, 500 millibar wind or mean wind profile. We're using our ensemble models for this. It's a what is it? It's the 16th. These are our spaghetti plot. Yeah, you can see that trough there across the northern high plains, Nebraska region. Plenty of synoptic lift for severe thunderstorms on the 25th and 25th and 26th. 25th. Wait. Yeah, 25th. Still plenty of synoptic lift. A little bit of a short wave there is going to be weak, unless it means the 16th or 26th. I really can't tell. Nice short wave there, though. Oh, wow. Looks like we might be seeing an increasing threat for storms overall in this coming week and possibly even into next week as well. Across the Central Plains, it's gonna slowly progress east, but then at that point we can't really tell too much. Let's see, and I'm curious. Oh yeah, look at that trough. The 28th might be something to watch in the days surrounding the 28th, 27th, 28th, 29th. Nice trough to the northern Central Plains and Midwest. This is funny. Oh yeah. Damn. Yeah, that is really giving derecho energy. The hell am I even saying? It did look like a derecho last night over in Oklahoma. Sorry, it's loud. Oh, man. That's gonna be really expensive. Okay. Okay. Let's go back here. Curious how this stands with other models. Ooh. Oh yeah, no, that's trending really well. Ooh, man. Oh man, yeah. Look at that. Oh, yeah, holy, that's a lot of instability. It's extremely strong, mid-level flow. Extremely strong, trough advection. Especially for, like, late June standards. Like, that's insane. Wonder how this holds up with other runs. Oh yeah, no, it's there too. I see why. I certainly see why the Storm Prediction Center was warning about severe weather beyond their day 8 outlook. That's big, dude. That's real big. You can look at these. Yeah, yeah, okay. Tomorrow. Okay, yeah. All the same stuff. Day 3 to 8 exaggerated severe comparison. What the hell? This is odd. I can kind of tell it's losing its mind a little bit the later it goes. What's this do? Okay, yeah, never mind. I don't care about that. Um, Hold on. Where's the... Okay, this is what I want. I want this. Oh yeah, look at that. Watch the 28th there. Huge spike. Yeah, 28th is kind of lighting up like a Christmas tree. The day surrounding as well. Yeah, hot damn, dude. Well, I'm waiting for the stream to catch up to see if it's even there. Okay, yeah, I know you can see it. God damn. Just look at that. That's big. That's real big. All right, well. Kind of really all the forecasting I wanted to do for today. Probably end up doing this tomorrow as well, just to catch up on um what everything needs to be forecasted. This does feel like a nice little replacement for my daily forecasts that I can no longer do because of CapCut fall into their greedy ways. Sweet. Probably gonna end this live stream here now. I appreciate those that have tuned in for tuning in, and those who may still be tuned in for tuning in. Uh, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow with this again.